Thank you for being here. We have a full house and overflowing, so to say. It tells you that the time for well-being is come. If this country needs to do well, which it will do well, it will happen because we go back to the alternate wisdom that is available in this country. And it will also become an industry. I would not like to just call it an industry. As you talked about, Mr. Darian, right? Darian, you talked about the well-being industry, and it is an industry, but it is a mission. And you've been doing this subconsciously very well through your content. How did you get into this domain? What got you started and what got you continued?
Firstly, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here at a festival that is celebrating well-being and wellness. We often hear about health and healthcare, but we forget about wellness. For me, I've never thought of when I got into wellness. You know, it's always been a part of who I am. It's been a part of my family. My grandfather was a homeopath. So alternative healthcare has always been a part of, the way my mother has raised me. And I've always kind of been a little more in tune with what's going on around, why we eat certain things. I think it's just a bent of mind. Sometimes, you reach a point in your life where you have an epiphany, where you're like, I think, it could be because of something you've had personally, a health scare, general interest. But for me, it's always been around me. It's been around in my family. And wellness is a part of who I am. Well-being is a part of who I am. And I'm really happy to be here sharing this stage.
Thank you, Mira, for being authentic. How do you define wellness? How do you define well-being? Is there a difference between wellness and well-being? Are they the same? What's Mira's definition of wellness and well-being?
I think well-being, when you say homeostasis, it's a very scientific word, but it's when everything is in equilibrium.
Harmony.
And we often forget that it's not just our body, but it's also our state of mind, how fit we feel, how good we sleep, how well we digest food, how do we react to seasonal change. It can't be how am I feeling right now, but it is the continuous state of feeling well.
Beautiful. When your mind, body, soul are in harmony, they're in sync, and it is a continuous stage of feeling well and being able to do what you have to, physically, mentally, in terms of passion. Now, every content creator is unique. They have their authenticity. They bring their personality to what they do, their own experiences. What do you think is unique about your content? Why is your content so much in demand?
I think you should tell me that.
Of course. I think I already answered that by saying, but what in your view kind of differentiates your content? I want to hear it from you.
My attempt towards creating content, it's never been forced. It's always trying to forge a very real connect with everyone that I engage with. I try to be as authentic and genuine as I can. I would never endorse something that I don't believe in, I don't buy myself, or I don't give my own children. And likewise, any views that I have come from a belief that I have cultivated over years of my own experience. So, sometimes you can suggest something to somebody, or you can, catch on to a bandwagon. But when you think about something, you implement it in your life, you experience it, and then out of that experience, you can say, you know what, this is what happened with me, and this is my point of view. You can choose to imbibe that, follow that kind of practice or lifestyle, but it's never forceful. I just try to be as real and genuine as I can. I'm a real person. Everything on my feed is the way that it is.
Yeah, I know. How many of you follow her? Rest, you don't follow her? Please start following her now. That's the only reason you should be able to take your phones and
That's
do
not
it.
why I'm here today.
But it's okay. They'll benefit from it. So it's a win-win. Now let me ask you, what is your well-being mantra? See, again, well-being is very personal. Some things are universal and they are applicable to everyone. Good quality sleep, eating the right food, movement, good breath. But what are your well-being mantras? Can you give this house some takeaways that they can implement in their life?
My well-being mantra, and rather my life's mantra, has always been balance. It's one word, it's balance. I think going in any particular direction in an extreme is going to have its own consequences. Even eating too healthy all the time will have its own consequences. It could lead to mental fatigue and frustration, but it could also lead to your gut not being able to digest food when you're traveling or attending a friend's wedding and having a good time. So it's about balance. Okay, these are the pillars of my lifestyle and my well-being, and this is what I like to work around. But that doesn't mean if you take me out of this environment, I will not be able to continue to stay well.
Beautiful. I love the word balance. Now, you're a content creator, you're an influencer, you're a well-being evangelist, you're an entrepreneur. Which is the role? Of course, they all feed each other. They all are intertwined, so to say. But what is the role that you enjoy the most? Are you enjoying being an entrepreneur, lending your name to projects and ideas that you believe in? What's giving you the most satisfaction? And it's never either or. I understand that. But is Mira more an entrepreneur? Is she a well-being expert? Is she a content creator? What is it that you enjoy more?
I think what I enjoy most is engaging with the audience that follows me, because I read my DMs every day. I see the questions that they ask me. I know that it comes from a place of seeking actual remedy or wanting an honest opinion or honest advice. And that's what I really enjoy, because I see those people keep coming back to me, keep asking me things. Those questions could be small, very important, inconsequential, but what I really enjoy is being able to engage with so many people in an extremely authentic way. But a close second is the role of an entrepreneur, where I get to interact with founders, I get to put my money where my mouth is and travel that journey of success with them.
Absolutely. Mira, when I ask celebrities, and I have met some in my life, I asked them, is there a particular person you look up to? Is there who's in this domain? Is there somebody else you think does good work? Some people are very gracious and kind and they give their contemporaries name. And some people say, no, all are good. I don't get a name from them. So let me ask you, Mira, are there other people in well-being in India or abroad that you look up to for content who also do good work? As you know, life is about abundance. There's enough for all of us. It's not an either-or life. Are there people in well-being space that you look for some kind of inspiration or you appreciate? Let me put it this way.
I think today everyone is on that journey to self-development and self-improvement. So I see a lot of people whose primary subject isn't necessarily wellness, but it's so interesting to see when they imbibe that in their day-to-day life. But if I was to name a few, there is Dr. Nidhi Pandya. She's an Ayurvedic doctor. I think she's just a couple of years older than me. And she gives this bite-sized information on Instagram.
Dr. Nidhi Pandya.
Yes. And she enables you to practice Ayurveda in your modern lifestyle.
Beautiful.
So you're not saying that, Ayurveda is 10,000 years old, so we have to be like age old and follow all those.
It is also contextual.
It's extremely contextual. She put up this post which is Ayurveda is your life.
Beautiful.
So how do you practice Ayurveda in the 21st century? How do you, small things like maybe putting, eating warm food, adding spices and a tadka to your dal, cooking your salad instead of eating it raw, putting ghee in your coffee. Like people have been doing bulletproof coffee
Ghee
for
in
a very
coffee?
long time. And they do
Beanley
butter.
guys, there is a new concoction for you. Beanley ghee coffee.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's those small tweaks, and I really enjoy her content because it's bite-sized. While you're scrolling, you get 5 seconds to make an impact with
And
somebody.
do you sometime kind of validate those and try
I've
those?
reshared her posts several times.
No, but also implement that inside.
Of
Experiment.
course, yes.
It's very gracious of you to name someone. Let me ask my last question and bring in the audience for 1 or 2 questions you read. What are the 2 or 3 trends that are very big in well-being that you would like us to know and focus on? What matters the most? What can be done by people in this room to seek well-being?
I think one is always looking outwards, trying to find an expert, a doctor, a new diet to follow, the new superfood. What's the new fancy exercise regimen that we can follow? But something that we often forget is listening to ourselves. And what is our body telling us? Are we in tune with how we feel after we've eaten heavy food and slept late? How do we feel in the morning? How do we feel when the season is changing? What are those triggers that cause us to react a certain way to cause a certain illness? What are the cravings we have? Each craving actually signals a deficiency that you have in your body. The other day my sister was telling me that she used to have this craving for eating ice. She used to just love eating ice. I said, I have been following this craving theory for a little while, and when you crave ice, it signals that you're deficient in iron. So I said, I think you need to take an iron supplement. This is unreal how much you want to eat ice. Yesterday she told me, oh my God, it's completely gone. Do you remember when I had to take that iron infusion? I was like, yeah. She said, ever since I did that, I don't feel like having iron anymore. Don't feel like eating ice anymore. Sure. So, the first step to well-being isn't what's on the outside. It is being in touch with how you feel, your mental health, your physical health, and the way your internal body reacts with external triggers. So it's the relationship that you as an individual have with the environment that's outside and the aggressors and the triggers that are there, which will enable you to find the right route to wellness, because everyone is different. I mean, in homeopathy, the same problem, the same cold will be treated very differently in different people.
Because you have to look at Dr. Batra
I'm very happy
guided
to be
me
here today.
that you have to look at it holistically, the lifestyle of the person, so you understand the emotions.
They would ask you, is your mouth feeling dry? Does it have more saliva? Do you want to drink cold water? Do you want to drink hot water? We're all different.
Beautiful. We have Mira here. We can take 1 or 2 questions. Harbinder, you wanted to ask a question. Can we get a mic to Harbinder? Just, Dr. Chauhan wants to ask a question. Keep a mic ready for Dr. Chauhan. And then the gentleman here. Go ahead, Harbinder.
So, Mira, first of all, it's so nice to see you here today. I follow you on Instagram. And my question to you is, you are an Instagram influencer, you're a celebrity, and you're also evangelizing the concept of well-being. I've been on the jury for 30 under 30 and the 40 under 40 that we are celebrating here today as well. And I realized there are a lot of people that we met who had huge following on social media, and we assumed that they were really great in what they were doing. But when we spoke to them, their knowledge was not that in-depth. I understand social media is doing a lot to connect with people, being relatable.
So the question you're asking?
So what do you think we must be doing to ensure that there are people who are genuine in their intent, but also have the expertise to share knowledge that is usable and useful to people, and not just, fancy stuff that is going online?
I think there isn't a solution, but I think it's a two-prong approach. One is creators. Those who are creating that content have to be very transparent with the fact that either I am an enthusiast or I am an expert. You have to be honest with your audience. I am not an expert, but I live, breathe, eat, sleep wellness. And my audience knows that. If I require any kind of support to what I am suggesting, there will always be a doctor, there will always be a dermatologist, there will always be a some kind of healthcare wellness expert who is going to be backing and supporting that view. Secondly, I think as an audience we have to be a little smarter. You know, we're following things all the time, we're scrolling all the time. I think the audience is quite intelligent to know who is being genuine and who is being authentic, because the power of follow and unfollow is in your hands. You get to decide who you want to follow and who you want to unfollow. And that's happened with me several times, that there have been people that I've liked to follow, and after some time I feel like I don't know if I'm really aligning with this person's viewpoint anymore. So there's that relationship between the creator and the audience. Yes, you have to keep the audience engaged. Don't do it at the cost of your own integrity, but as the audience, be mindful of who you're following if you intend to take their advice.
And Arvinder, if I may add, sometimes the inspiration is good enough for that person to then seek expert view. So every content creator has a role to play. It could be, as she said, aficionado, somebody who's just creating awareness, somebody is also giving solutions. So I think the audience, the journey of that individual may start with something, but he or she may seek other experts to be able to fulfill that journey. Right.
Yes, I think it's about facilitating that, bringing a person who is seeking wellness with the person who can provide that solution.
Thank you. Dr. Chauhan, short question. Just hold on, sir.
Hi, Mira. This is Madhusudan Chauhan from Jiva Ayurveda. Two very quick questions. One personal. You've become a wellness, well-being icon for the youth of the country. How has that changed?
Thank you for that compliment to me. Thank you.
You are as well now with BW Wellbeing. How has that changed you in your personal life? Now, I'm sure you're going out, there are cameras, there are people clicking pictures, what you're eating, what you're doing, how you're moving about. How has that changed you personally? One. Two, you mentioned about personalization. I'm very happy since you evangelize Ayurveda a lot, and Ayurveda is entirely based on the principle of personalization. Correct. How do you see the whole social media, influencers, well-being experts online handing out tips and DIY hacks for serious conditions? How do we address that, given one, these are serious health conditions?
We got it.
Two, personalization. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, Dr. Chauhan.
Thank you for your question. I myself share the same concern as you. When you're seeing people are trying to give you solutions for colds, coughs, diabetes, thyroid, PCOS, lifestyle disorders, where you have plenty of, different options and routes that one can take, different schools of medicine and wellness that you can follow. I've always been very clear with my audience that it is extremely person-specific. Both homeopathy and Ayurveda schools of medicine that I respect and follow myself are all about individual personalization and deciphering your individual constitution. So yes, you can have those umbrellas of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and how you most likely to behave in a certain situation, or what are those foods that are most likely to trigger you or to help you or to soothe you or to be suitable for you. But I completely agree with you, because there is so much information out there and there's such an overload of tips and hacks, and I find like you cannot hack your way through health. You can't do that. Healthcare and wellness is a very slow, you know that with Ayurveda. It's very slow, but that's because it goes to the absolute root of the problem. So I can speak for myself that I'm transparent with my audience that, look, this is what worked for me. please consult a physician or an expert in case you would like to find out what would be suitable to you.
But anyone comes across a quick fix to grow hair, please inbox me. I'm happy to try it. If it works, I'll give you $1 million. We'll take the question.
We had another question.
Yeah, one last question. It's okay.
Hey Mira, hi. I'm Chef Harsh from a diabetic chef.
You cure diabetes or you create diabetes? I'm a diabetes curing chef. Words of power.
I'm a diabetic chef, which also means I'm diabetic myself.
Okay.
What I do is essentially help people fulfill their cravings for sweets, desserts, people with diabetes, chronic conditions, etc. I have a question for you. How do you look so pretty and still consume indulgences? Rather, what's your quick fix? What's that one thing I'm always wondering? What do stars eat when they want to fix their cravings or something they like to eat and still look that good?
Thank you for the compliment. Luckily for me, I don't have a sweet tooth. So, you will catch me in the middle of the night if I'm craving something. My comfort food is eating cold dal and rice. Like cold pizza. But I don't have a sweet tooth. I'm lucky about that. My meals and my approach to nutrition is very age-old and simple. 3 meals a day, eating well, sitting down, eating hot food. My food follows the principles of Ayurveda. It's warm, it's cooked, it's season-specific. I sit down and eat no water with food. You'll never say, and I don't eat salads. I don't eat raw food. Like people think I'm all about smoothies and salads, and it's in my Instagram bio. I dislike raw food. It just doesn't sit well with my constitution. Even though I have a strong Agni, but I just don't like having salads. So I just change my food based on the season. Everything else is pretty simple. I love roti. I'm not scared of gluten. I have dahi whenever required. I'm not a gluten-free freak or a dairy-free, that type of person. It's balance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to close by asking Mira, if we met you 3 years from now, I said 10, 15 before COVID, these days, what would have Mira achieved in terms of her impact, in terms of what's your vision for yourself? You seem like a person who knows what she's doing, where she wants to go. So if I met you 3 years from now, or any one of us met you from 3 years from now, what you would have done in the next 3 years?
Well, I'm hoping that I could have a more tangible impact on real people in terms of wellness in a far more accessible way, something that they can utilize on a daily basis or experience often enough. And I think my dream is to be able to have, a wellness center or a space where you can experience the magic of Eastern medicine. I think you have so many up in the Swiss Alps and Austria and Vienna and all of these different places. Sometimes when I see those diets, I'm like, just follow an Ayurvedic diet is pretty much going to tell you the same thing. Why are you pricking yourself and getting these blood tests? Just do your, check your tongue and everything. But I really hope to bring forth to the people of our country what our country has had to offer for so many centuries, and to experience well-being and healthcare in an accessible, affordable way that they can implement in their day-to-day life.
More power to you. Good luck to you. I'm sure with your clarity of thought.